righty. Big thanks to everyone coming out today. This is the Solo National Tour here in Wilmington, Ohio, and it is hosted by the Cincinnati region of SCCA. So big thanks to them for helping make this event happen. And I am happy to be here. My co-driver and I came all the way from Houston, 18 hours just to be at this site. And it is spectacular. So for those of you listening at home across the country, if you can make it happen to come out here, this place is gorgeous. You'll absolutely love it and have a wonderful time. Looks like we got JB carts gridding up here at the start line, queuing up, getting ready to go. Alexander Nelson, Tyler Cormier, and Ben Weaver, your first three to head out. Looks like things will be underway soon. Looks like I see GFAB Racing being represented out there at corner one. Either that or somebody got into their t-shirt box. Adam Deffenbaugh walking out to his corner. I've seen you run. You know how to run. As soon as we get worker check-in completed here, we will be underway. Big event here this weekend. I think they said we had like 360 some odd folks out coming out this weekend. Boy, it's a shame we couldn't get more. As I said, I knew people told me this was going to be gorgeous, but I never imagined it was going to look like this. Okay, I'm going to attempt to do just a little recap from last heat just to see how things went. Looks like A Street Ladies, your current leader there, looks to be B. Reganey out of Joliet, Illinois, in a C5Z06. Let's see, nobody in CSL. D Street, I know there's some folks running there. As I said earlier, Brian Anthony, also out of the Chicago area, in that Hankook Shod Cobalt SS on his last run, working two DNFs, taking the lead there. But looks like we are into JB action. Ashley Nelson into the lights with a 75.774. 75.774 for her first run, driving an 08 Burrell, sponsored by Mom and Dad. Ooh, here comes one zipping into the finish now. Tyler Cormier. He is in on MG tires with a 68.690. 68.690. I see the Weavers in my mirror cheering their son on back there. He's going to be next into the finish. Little Ben Weaver. There he is. Kieran Boito and Tom Reganey will be your next into the lights. Oh, here's someone with a vest. Working it through those final offsets. If my car was 5 feet narrower, I'd get through just that clean as well. Into the lights with a finishing time, 90.184, 90.184. So driving a Corvette cart sponsored by Fat Boys, Muffler Plows, and Raft. Wonder what kind of goodies Mr. Pop has put on that little cart. All right, Kieran Boito next into the lights, 75.346, 75.346, sitting in second spot in JB. And looks like we're in JA action out there. Holy smokes, those things are moving. Good grief. Here comes Tom into the lights. Goodness. In with a 63.903. 63.903 for Tom Reganey. Those of you that aren't too familiar with the rules on junior karts have to run on cement compound tires on their karts that'll last upwards of probably 8 years. So it's astonishing watching these things move around on the course, but boy, are they quick. And we got a battle here. Trey White taking the lead by a tenth, a 63.780, just 1/10 of a second up on Tom. So very tight battle in JA. It's going to be fun watching these two duke it out here. Who do we got next? Looks like we got Ashley Nelson and Kate Reganey going to be the two next into the finish, according to my computer screen. Ooh, somebody picking up a cone out there. That doesn't feel good in a cart, I can tell you that. All right, next in the lights looks to be, it says Ashley Nelson on here. Could be Alexander, could be Ashley, not sure, but it says a DNF on that last run there. So I got 2 runs for Ashley, but none for Alexander as of yet. And next in is going to be Kate Reganey, it looks like, number 21, KML. Your current leader with a 60.553, 60.553. And who do we have next? All right, well, let's take a minute just for a second just to thank some of our sponsors here this weekend. BF Goodrich Tires, GoPro cameras, Hawk Performance pads, and Pronto timing systems. That's going to be the official timing system that we're using. Intercontinental Hotels, Mazda, looks like, yeah, Mazda Motor Cars, Mobile One Oil, and that reminds me, Mobile One, they sent me an email. By the way, if you got a contingency from Mobile One last year, according to the email I got, you must claim your Mobile One contingency by October 15th of this year. Use it or lose it. So just a reminder to everyone out there. Actually, I am driving in a Mazda myself this weekend. I've been driving one all year. Wonderful cars, and I've been running on BFG tires. Absolutely loving those. If you're running in the street classes, which kind of used to be stock, but they're now street. Anyways, if you're running there, BFG does have a really wide range of tires available for your vehicle. So probably going to be running those on a Street Z06 next year. So we'll be one of the field fillers watching Mike Johnson run away from us next year. So that man is on fire. Oh, looks like we are getting into street modified action. Mike Fawcett out on course in an E36 Beamer. Chuck Panowski is going to be next in a Subi, and another Subaru by Tim Ward. Oh, picking up a DNF on Mike out there. See some dust kicked up behind the vehicle there. And I got to tell you, the last hour of my day has given me a big appreciation for those folks out here running big wings on the back of their cars. We assembled it about 6 different times and couldn't get it right. Finally got the darn thing assembled right, and then I heard a holler for workers. So hopefully it'll stay on the car for tomorrow's competition. Time will tell. Stay tuned to first heat. All right, Mike Fawcett coming into the lights, kind of sort of your leader. He's got a DNF on that run, a 64.8 scratch time for him. 64.8 from Mike, but a DNF on that run. So it shows him in the lead, but he doesn't have a time on the books. Let's see. There we are. Chuck Panowski in with a 2000 Subaru Impreza White, carrying 2 cones, a 63.162, 63.162. And Jim Vitale out working course, Christy Gauss. And who are we going to have up on deck next? That's going to be Justin Lau driving that G-Fab Nissan 240. Mamma mia, that thing is quick. It put the hurt on us in XP today, I tell you that. Okay, we have an in-car from someone right now. Oh, that's the 240. Ooh, car 73, Tim Ward into the lights, carrying a DNF, a 67-283. 67-283. This is pretty cool. So that's why they're so fast. They hit apexes. I need to learn how to do that. Christy Gauss out of Wexford, Pennsylvania with a 65-101. 65-101, your current leader in Street Modified now. Huh. Well, look at this thing go. And here's that hump that I lost it on earlier. Oh, look at him place that vehicle. Nice. All right, Jim Vitale out of Dayton, Ohio, coming in with a 72.230. 72.230 for that Hoosier Shod 240. But next in the lights is going to be Justin Lau. He is in with a clean 61.214. Yes, 61.214. That is a 3.8 second lead over the street mod crowd right now. Woo. Getting into street touring sport STS action. This is the Miata and CRX crowd. So in case you haven't heard, there's a proposal out there to combine STS and STC. I believe it's a proposal. Oh well, you may want to write letters in favor, for or against. That's how these things work. Your input is all valued and valid. All right, into the lights. First up in the STS crowd is going to be Will Dodd out of Amherst, Ohio. Flat Out Graphics sponsoring him. Working a DNF on those Toyos. He's got a 73.389, but a DNF. So no help for him. He's going to be looking to run two to put one down in the books. Sean Johnson in an 89 CRX will be next into the lights. He's from Stamping Ground, Kentucky. VIP Car Wash representing him this weekend. And driving a shiny CRX. Looks like they're doing a good job. A 69.629 for him. 69.6 running on BFG tires. And next up is going to be Chris Johnson. Chris also driving an 88 CRX. Extreme Rampage is his sponsor. He is running on BFG tires as well. This one's down with a 69.146. 69.146 taking the lead. 4/10 up on Sean. Next up is going to be Paul. I'm going to go with Paul. I apologize. I'm going to go with that because I can't pronounce your last name. Paul Koratolowicz. Yeah. Anyways, Paul went pretty quick. He came in with a 69.479. He is just 3/10 off the lead. Paul McClurg's going to be next. Behind him, we got Jacob Christensen and Nina Hoover and Cartmont Ladies waiting on deck at the line. Ooh, looks like Jacob working on one cone out there in that 95 Miata. 94 through 97 Miatas, by the way, if you're not familiar, those run without limited slip diffs, so those do run open diffs. All right, car 61 working a DNF into the lights with an 81. There we are, 81.736. 81.736. Followed up by car 64. That's going to be Jacob. He's only working a cone here. He's got a 71.425. 71.425 for Jacob. And next up is going to be KML5, Nina Hoover, working a DNF here. So she'll be looking to her second run to go put one in the books and see if she can catch up to Kate Reganey. So working a 76.4, but a DNF on that run. So she knows it, heading back to grid here. All right, here comes Mike Snyder. Mr. Mike Snyder, beautiful CRX there. Sponsored by SSC Tint. Yeah, I don't want to suggest it's Big Mike or Little Mike because I don't remember. But gorgeous car nonetheless, and it looks even better being in the lead by 2.3 seconds in STS with a 66.788, also running on BFG tires. But we got some Toyo folks coming up next. Looks like we got Justin Harbor, Darren DeSimo, and Brandon Blaga all still waiting to run. Next into the lights, Sean Greer running on Toyo's 67.784. 67.784 puts him just a second off Mike Snyder, solidly up into the second position. wiggling through the lights. Look at Justin go. He is in with a 67.934, 67.934 for Justin. So sitting in third spot, just a little over a tenth off of Sean Greer. Here comes another red Miata. That's Darren DeSimo. Look at him. Drifto. And it's clean. 66.172. 66.172 for Darren. But he picked up a bucket somewhere out on track. So smoke and scratch time for Darren in the John Brown Miata. Woo. Man. FSP getting into the cones out there. I see corner workers running. All right, Brandon Balaga, number 98, driving a 92 Miata. Clean time, 69.807, 69.807. Followed up quickly by a 200 SX Nissan, driven by Andrew Buck. Back into FSP action, 67.040. 67 flat for him. He's sponsored by Autocross Magnets. And it looks like Andy's Auto and Truck. Next up going to be Renee Hines in an 85 CRX. The Urban Camo Mobile, 66.230 plus 1. 66.230 plus 1 for Renee. Mike Burgess out there driving that gorgeous blue Volkswagen Rabbit. Looks like he's going to be working a DNF here as well. Oh, there you go. Go that way. There you go. Woo. And we are back on track. George Schweikel into the lights. 76 Alpha Spider. He's working a DNF at 82.5. 82.5, but a DNF. Followed up very quickly by Kevin Thompson. 95 Neon ACR. That is the car of the 90s in stock class, folks. 71 flat for him. 71.0 in that Neon ACR plus 1 cone. Followed up by Mike Burgess here. There he is. Mike in with a 59.0, but a couple of DNFs for Mike there. So just coming in and calling it quits on this run. So he's going to go give it a shot next run. Now there's a name I didn't expect to see in FSP. Looks like Nick Myers is out there running that Corolla in FSP. Mark Summers is going to be next up. He's got a red and white, another familiar vehicle in the FSP crowd, 83 Rabbit GTI. And it is F modified time after that, everybody. All righty, 76.269 for Mr. Summers, 76.2. All right, looks like it is about sweep time. Looks like a Legends car out there running F-Mod. That's something cool to see. All right, Nick Myers said you need a 67 flat, but a 67.2 is going to put you right there, sir. Just a tenth out of the lead, just behind Andrew Buck in that 200 SX. Nick Myers in with a 67.2. Going to put you solidly in second spot in FSP right now. F-Mod action. Here comes Neil Landers out of Bluebell, PA at a 65.717. 65.717, currently your leader. Going to be followed up by James Rose in the Ford Dwarf sedan. And it looks like Mr. Landers has a co-driver here. Looks like it's going to be James Fisher, so he'll be the third driver in F-Mod, running after a few more cars run through and sweep and whatnot. Here comes the little dwarf into the finish. And with a clean time, 73.403. 73.403 for James Rose. Sponsored by, let's just call it sponsored by Corner Workers.
Thank you.
He just wants to remind everybody that Corner Workers will save you. So for those of you that road race, you know what he's talking about. And there goes Sweep Car. A yellow, mostly yellow, WRX. Okay, grid. Just want everyone to take a look. Check your lug nuts. The starter just let us know there is a lug nut that left one of your vehicles up around the start area. So please check your lug nuts just to make sure. Oh, that's not gone well. Nicely done. Andrew Blazeman, Mr. Car Control, keeping it together. Run on Avon's a 62.361 plus one cone. So good save there at the finish. So not sure if any of y'all saw that, but that was a heck of a save there. Jeff Jacobs out working ASR out on course. Mr. Steve Holscher. Steve, woo, buddy. Ooh. Steve carrying a cone on his first run, a 62.5 for him. 62.5, Mr. Shift himself. That's my boy right there. If you're like me and you can't hit third gear for nothing in your car, you need to go to the Steve Holscher School of Shifting. That man is amazing. Oh, yes, ma'am. Uh-oh, I need to call some names. Good names, though.
Bad names.
Oh, bad names.
I need him to be at the gate.
Jim Rock. Jim Rock, you're running an XP with us. I know Jim. Jim, you got that Fiat, sir. They need you at the gate, buddy. They're looking for you out at the gate. All right, Jeff Jacobs, the Lone Ranger in ASR, running a 64.133. 64.1 for Jeff Jacobs in that fixed roof coupe Corvette. Getting into STR ladies action. This is going to be Jenna Gates, running a 2007 S2000 silver on Hankook tires. All right, she's in with a 74.304. 74.304. Laura Campbell really turning the stinking wick up here with a 65.711. 65.711. Putting us to shame as usual, but carrying a cone on that, so good run for Laura. And we're getting into D-Mod action. John Weisman, and hey, there's Chuck Spira. I haven't seen Mr. Chuck in a while. Good to see him out getting things done here in D-Mod. All right, Weisman is in with a 66.853. 66.853. Running D-Modified. All right, looks like we got an onboard with Jenny Williams in an A-Mod ladies vehicle here. So if you ever wondered what it was like to drive a Porsche engine with wheels on it, this is it. Well, it looks terrifying to me. I'll stick to my slow front-wheel drive cars that I'm used to driving. Chuck Spira into the finish. Chuck working a DNF out there, pulling a 77, so he knows he probably got lost out there somewhere. He's going to go check his course map and get her done. Who do we have here coming up next? BSL, Debbie Zeisler, driving an 07 Mazda MX-5, green. It's an 07 MX-5. I can only assume it's one of the elusive MSR packages. It looks very MSR-y. I like the numbers on it, bright orange. Coming in with an 81.2. 81.2 for her, running on Dunlop tires today. Clean run on her first run, something that has eluded most of us as the weekend is going on. Man, that is a monster. Jenny Williams with a 63.836. 63.836. Sorry, I apologize. It's not a Porsche with wheels. It's a wing with a Porsche engine with wheels. All right. Looks like we got Greg McMillan out there in the Porsche Carrera S taking the road less traveled. Into the finish lights with a 78.976. 78.976. Looks like he completed his run, so it looks like a clean run there. All right, getting into double driver action in street modified, 62.182 for Tyler Fawcett out of Colorado. It's just going to put him 9/10 behind Justin Lau in the GFAB 240 SX. But watch out, second driver David White. David White, also known as the former national or reigning national champion in that vehicle there. So, picking up a cone though for Dave. I see him knocking one down the slalom here. Into the lights next, Tim White out of South Carolina. TNA Racing. That's good. 66.818. 66.818. Putting him into the trophies. That is the last trophy spot in fourth. And here comes Frank Goss in a 2006 Mitsubishi Evo 9. Rocketing up into second position, a 61.930. 61.930 for the wingless Evo in street modified. Sounds like there's some DNFs going on in STS. We'll have to wait to see who they're on. That is a scratch time. Good grief. 60.390. 60.390 for David White. He knows he hit 3 cones on it. Doesn't need to see his time. He's got 2 more to go lay it down. Let's see what kind of 59s or 58s he can put in the books today. Greg Johnson, number 127 STS, driving an Eggplant 88 CRX. Going to be next into the finish. Working on a DNF. Scratch time of 74.6. 74.6, but a scratch time. Scratch time there, but a DNF on his run. Ian Baker co-driving with Mike Snyder. Ian into the lights. Okay, just making sure I'm reading this correctly. 65.0. 65.074. That is 1.7 seconds up on co-driver Mike Snyder and your new leader in STS. So, oh my God, 64s are going to happen in STS today. That's just not fair, but nicely done there. John Brown with a DNF on that run, working a 67.3 scratch, but a DNF. But, wow. I am flabbergasted. And where in the world did you find a 65 flat, sir? Excellent run there in STS. So currently leading back into double drivers and FSP shortly after. Looks like we got John Fisher in the 92 Miata working around into the final offsets here. This is really a patient section here. Driving a big turbo car earlier, I got to tell you, it is hard to stay out of the throttle. 77.179, 77.179 clean. Oh no, a DNF on that run. Wes Emerson, if you are anywhere around, they are in need of water, ice, and coolers and things of drinking over in the tech area. Please head over to tech area. Wes Emerson. Scott Giles, your new leader, 63.7. That is a 3.2 second lead. Oh, no longer a 3.2 second lead. That's a 2.3 second lead up on Greg Anthony, who just came in with a 66.125 in the neon. Yes. Alrighty, if you just ran in grid 1 and you got your results and you are done running, well, it's time for you to go. Go away. We need to use your grid, sir. Please evacuate grid number 1. Into the lights, Jason West in with a 66.437, 66.437. That is going to round out a third position there in FSP, a 61.352 for James Fisher. running an F mod, taking the lead by 4.3 seconds. So as I said, FSP, things are shaking up like this. Scott Giles on top, Greg Anthony second, Jason West third, Andrew Buck in fourth, Nick Myers just out of the trophies there. Car number 108 DP, Andrew. Andrew is out of Toledo, Ohio. Car number 108 in with a 66, 126 plus one. So everyone in DP working on a cone. So we'll see how things play out when these folks get their runs cleaned up on run 2. And see how things are going to be working there. You got Andrew on the top, Holscher in second, and another Andrew in third. Alrighty, just another reminder, if you are watching or listening or whatever you're doing on Ustream at home, all the video today brought to you by Carts, the live internet video production services owned by Carl Rickard. So big thanks to Carl for providing us, well, all the media action this weekend as far as video goes. He's got outside the car video here where we can video the cars from outside, and he's got live GoPro cameras that he is strapping on willing folks' vehicles out there. So if you're like me and you drive like a fool and you want someone else at home to see it, well, find Mr. Carl and he will put a camera on your vehicle for all to see. You'll be the newest internet sensation in the autocross world. And yes, I did say he's using GoPro cameras, the same GoPro cameras who sponsor our events. So make sure you patronize GoPro. Maybe you can go see Mr. Carl, and he might be able to set you up with one of those live streaming setups for your camera someday as well. All right, back into JB action. Making sure things are staying calm and grid, no vehicles moving. There's Alexander Nelson working it out on course. Tyler Cormier and Ben Weaver. If you're like me and you can't see surface changes, go watch the karts run. They will show you every little bump and pebble out on this course. But oddly enough, this is about as smooth as I've ever seen a go-kart run. Looking good. Alrighty, here comes Alexander working it through these final offsets. Pedal to the metal, screaming into the lights, in with a 69.376 plus one. 69.376 plus one. Even with the cone, it's a 4.5 second pickup for him. Without the cone, that would just put him 0.6 out of the lead. Your leader, Tyler Cormier, on the first run. Here comes Tyler working it into these final offsets. Hanging the back end out, holding on and keeping it tidy into the finish with a 68.348. 68.348, so he finds a few more tenths. Still your leader in JB. And there is Ben Weaver working the backside of the course there, making it cleanly through the offsets and heading across the yump and going into the slalom. And just behind him, I see Kieran Boito also running in JB, running an 05 top cart. Heading out into that same section, and we are getting into JA action. This is a two-man battle here, but boy, are these JA karts really screaming. Alrighty, here comes Ben working into the final offsets. Everything looking clean across the line, down to an 86.738, 86.738. That is a good pickup for him. Let's see, what is that? 3.4 seconds he picked up. Nicely done. Kieran. Oh, man, 67.745, 67.745 for Kieran Boito, taking the lead by 0.6 of a second in JB. And let's see, your second place driver from before, Tom Reganey, laying down a 62.392, 62.392. He looks pleased with that. Nicely done. Here comes Trey White out of Glen Allen, Virginia, sponsored by the Evo Performance Driving School. He is working it through the final chicane here. Let's see his time. Down to a 62.8, 62.873, so good pickup for him. Not quite enough to catch Tom. He's about 0.4 off of him. So as I said, very tight battle going on in JA. I will be watching closely to see how that pans out on third runs into KML, and it looks like second driver in JB, Ashley Nelson, also going to be working it out there as well. Alrighty, Nina Hoover laying down a clean time, 65.209, 65.209. With the benefit of those MG greens, laying down a sticky fast time on her second run. Next in is going to be Kate Reganey out of Joliet, Illinois, another one of the family, dropping it down just a little bit more, a little more than a 10th pickup, a 60.399, 60.399, still holding on to her lead, also running on MG greens on that 95 Honda. I can only assume a CR125. Ashley Nelson flying into that sweeper turn down there, still holding on, no trouble getting through the final offsets into the finish, crossing the lights with a 72.2. Oh, but carrying a DNF on this run, they said, a 72.2, so a good scratch time. Still working a DNF, though. Nicely done, though. Got one more run to go get it done. Good run for her, though, a 72.2 scratch time. So currently in JB, Kieran Boito on top, Tyler Cormier second, Alexander Nelson in third, Ben Weaver in fourth, and Ashley Nelson holding down the fifth position. So 5 entries in JB this weekend. That means they're going to be doing, looks like 2 trophies here. So things are tightening up on the third runs going in for JB. We got 2 drivers in JA right now, but things are very hot and heavy there. Only 0.4 of a second separating those two. And they are outrunning most of the door slammers here this weekend. All right, and we are back into second runs and street modified. Looks like Mike Fawcett going to be leading things off in that 96 328. There's not a lot of 328 left in that vehicle, but, well, that's what it's listed as. Looking pretty. I think, did that car used to be green? If it was, I do like the new paint job. Looking very nice. Chuck Panowski out working the center section of the course here, picking up a cone in the corner 1 area, driving that 2000 white Impreza. And let's keep an eye here and see who's going to be our next in car. All righty. Clean time, Mike Fawcett in with a 63.340, 63.340. That is going to move you all the way up into third spot. That is going to be the third spot. We got 4 trophies in street mod. So holding down a trophy right now. Chuck Panowski carrying a cone on this run that I know of. Let's see what his scratch comes in with, a 63.406, but 3 cones on that run. 63.4, but 3 cones. Would have put him right there in the hunt for a trophy, but working those 3 cones there, so 2 runs in a row with cones. Got 1 more run to go out and do it fast and clean. And the radios are going bonkers. I hear more cones getting called in, but I can't hear who they're on. Tim Ward next in with a 65.877 clean. 65.8 clean for him. That puts him 2.5 seconds up on the folks behind him. And 5th position, he's just 0.7 out of 5th. Looks like Justin Lau, your first driver in the GFAB 240, out working the middle of the course there for us. 64.523, though, in for Christy Gauss in the Mitsubishi Evo, working a cone on that run. Total time of 66.5, including the cone. So that would have put her right there in contention for the 4th and final trophy position. Justin Vitale in a 98 240 SX. He's working the final chicane into the lights with a 68.387. 68.387. So a 4-second pickup for Jim out of Dayton, Ohio in that 98 240. So big pickup for him. He is coming. And here, speaking of, here comes Justin Lau out of Norwalk, Connecticut. 61.745. 61.745. So losing a little bit of time on that run. So not sure if the invisible yellow brick road caught him out, but we're going to see how run 3 goes for him. And second drivers in SM as well. But no time for that now. We are into STS. We got Will Dodd, Sean Johnson, and Chris Johnson working it out on course. Alrighty, looks like we got a camera on car 77 STS, so we're going to be watching Mike Snyder in that gorgeous CRX working it out on course. So turn your live stream on and tune in and watch. If you are in grid and you want to see how to do it in STS, go watch this vehicle run. Will Dodd in with a 70.764 clean, 70.764 clean. Moving him up into 10th spot. Pick up for Sean Johnson as well, picking up 1.1 seconds down to a 68.516. 68.516, just 0.3 of a second out of the fifth and final trophy position in STS. We got 15 cars in STS this weekend, so nice big crowd there. Not as big as STX. STX appearing to be the class to run in street touring this year, as we are seeing huge crowds in STX. I'm predicting probably 60-plus people are going to be running that class at Nationals, so we'll see how many actually get there. Chris Johnson slowing down a bit, running into some trouble, a 71.8. All righty, here goes Mike Snyder, sitting in second spot right now. Co-driver Ian Baker on top of the class. That little blue Honda is dominating. Into the lights, a 68.907 for Paul out of Cary, Illinois. Maximum Attack Racing CRX. That's going to put him in 7th position, just 0.3 back from 6th.
64 STS plus 1.
All right, car 61 next into the lights. That's going to be Paul McClurg. Big improvement on a DNF. He's got a 73.6, 73.6. I am watching Mike Snyder working on course right now, looking nice and tidy in the back section. Let's check out his car placement. Nicely done coming into the slalom. That's a 70.432 plus 1 cone for Jacob Christensen here. All right, watching some more in-car. Mike Snyder here working it nice and tidy. Let's see if he can really backside these last 3 offsets. Getting on the power, unwinding the wheel. Nicely done through the finish. Mike Snyder into the lights, in with a 65.380. 65.380. Mike, thank you for taking us along on the ride. Nicely done, sir. Sitting in second, 0.3 behind Ian Baker. Smoking time for Mike Snyder. So 1-2 in that vehicle right now. They're only 0.3 apart, but they are 2.4 seconds up on the class. Into the lights, a 67.719 for Sean Greer. Still sitting in 3rd spot, holding it down solidly. Looks like next up we got Justin Harbour, Mr. Drift himself. Let's see if Justin can keep it underneath him this run and pick up some time. Sitting in 4th position, sponsored by Sweet and Sassy. So I like that. All right. Well, we got Justin a 67.675, 67.675. Moving on up to the east side in a 3rd position, just ahead of Sean Greer out of Stamping Ground, Kentucky. A lot of people from Stamping Ground, Kentucky. I'm familiar with Stomping Grounds, but I'm not familiar with Stamping Ground. Speaking of 65s, little Darren DeSimo with a 65.397. 65.397 for Darren DeSimo. Oh, picking up a cone on that run, but a smoking raw time for Darren. Smoking raw time for Darren, even with the cone, still sitting in 3rd position. So Darren is in a Honda sandwich right there, and that Miata, if he can go do it clean, maybe even get on top of that little blue Honda, is rocking it so hard this weekend here in Wilmington. Brandon Blaga out of Portage, Michigan, dropping some time there, a 1.6 second pickup, 68.368. Nicely done. And next in, it is FSP time. Your leader after runs early on, but not quite anymore, but still a good time here. 66.038 for Andrews. 66.0. 1 second pickup for him. That's going to put him in 2nd position in FSP. Your leaderboard there looks like Scott Giles, Andrew Buck, and Nick Myers is sitting in 3rd position. Looks like some of the folks there earlier had cone trouble, maybe even DNF trouble. All right, first driver in the 85 CRX, that's going to be Renee Hines, down to a 65.281 plus 2, 65.281 plus 2, so a smoking scratch time. Would have put her in 2nd spot and a 1-2 for that little Honda, except for those 2 cones. So she's got one more run to go lay it down clean and fast. Even with the cones, though, she's in 4th spot holding down the last trophy position. Nicely done. 71.2 in next on that little Alpha Spider driven by George Schwenkel. He is out of Lexington, Kentucky. So another Kentucky resident. Scuderia Non Originale is his sponsor. I like that. All righty. Little bit of trouble for Kevin Thompson. Into the lights with a 71.5. 71.5 for him. He knows it. So coasting into the finish there. Mike Burgess, though, next into the lights with a 67.156. 67.156 for that gorgeous blue little rabbit. And that's going to put him up in third position. Now he's only 54 thousandths ahead of Nick Myers on his first run, and he's about a second back from Andrew Buck. So Burgess and the rest of FSP, not sure what we're going to need to do time-wise to stay in the trophies, but Scott Giles is down in the 63s, so we're going to need some 64s there. Here comes a 66.4 for Mark Summer. He just moved up to third position just ahead of Mike Burgess, so we got Honda, Nissan, VW, and Toyota in FSP. But here comes Nick Myers, 64.462. 64.462 for Nick. That puts him about 7/10 off of Giles. So now we got Honda, Toyota, Nissan, VW, and Toyota, but only the top four are going to stay in the trophies. So things shaking up quickly here in FSP. Looks like F-modified action coming up now. Oh, well, coming up soon. Looks like we got Sweep Car out on track. Alrighty, I see Neil Landers out working the back section of the course there. I don't remember a pin turn back there, so he's running into a little bit of trouble. I hear plus ones, I hear DNF, so lots of action going on in F-modified. Looks like Andrew Blaseman, so we're getting into DP action now. Whoa, look at that thing move. All right, here comes Neil, F-mod 25. Scratch time of 68.0, but a DNF on that run. So 68.0, but a DNF. For Neil Landers out of Bluebell, Pennsylvania. Only Bluebell I know of down in Texas is ice cream, so I hope Bluebell in Pennsylvania is just as sweet. All right, 65.6 for the Little Dwarf Sedan, moving up into second spot. Second spot for James Rose out of Indiana. Corner workers will save you. I'm, of course, paraphrasing, but he knows what I mean. He's got a lot of little cones on the side of his vehicle. I imagine those are little fast time of day cones that he's taken over the last year or two. 61.983 for Andrew. 61.983 plus 2. So he's still sticking to his first run, even though it's dirty. So the cone curse in DP continues. But here comes Steve Holscher. Let's see if he can break the curse. Steve with a 61.891 clean. 61.891 for Steve Holscher, Mr. Racekeeper. Nicely done for him. That's a clean car if you haven't taken a look at it. So very, very well prepared little MR2. Speaking of another pretty car, Jeff Jacobs now coming into the lights with his ASR Corvette. Jeff always has pretty vehicles as well. Pretty time here, too, a 64.724, 64.724. Oh, picked up a cone to hit that one. So a little bit of trouble there for Jeff. Spent a few years running with him in H stock. A great guy to run with. So also, he seems to be good at setting up co-drives. So if you're ever looking to rent a seat, that's right. All righty, Jenna Gates in the lights with a 74.432, 74.432, so backing up her previous time. Laura Campbell, though, ripping one off, a 64.3 clean. 64.3 clean. Mr. Doug Willie was coming up to say hi to me out at the announcer vehicle. Doug Willie, the team principal at our little race team, Team Minardi. So you can ask him about that later if you have the time. Hopefully you don't. Jim Weissman will be next in to finish with a 66.092. 66.092 for John. Here comes Chuck Spira putting a clean run. No, got a DNF for Chuck. Chuck, I can't see where it's at. I'm not sure, bud. Take a look at the audit sheets. Hopefully it'll clear something up there. So Chuck Spira in with a 68.3 but a DNF on that run again. Ooh, and what do we have here? Looks like we got BSL, but it flipped the time off too quick for me. A 61.099 for Jenny Williams and A-Mod. 61.099 for Jenny Williams. Just before that, we had Debbie Zeisler driving that green MX-5, dropping about 0.4 of a second. She got down to an 80.929 in the Jack Burns Race Wheels MX-5. Jack Burns, another gentleman I had the pleasure of driving with a couple times, looks like an H-Stock, so that man can put the hurt on you, I tell you that. Greg McMillan out of London, Ohio, sponsored by the U.S. Army. Thank you, sir, on Bridgestones with a 75.780. 75.780. That's a 3-second pickup for him. But we're back into second drivers in SM, and Tyler Fawcett getting it down to a 60.979. 60.979 for Tyler. And that pretty paint job is making it all worthwhile here as he is your new leader in SM. We're going to see what Tim White can do, so we'll see how we'll see how he does. I'm running out of well, I never had intelligent things to say, but I'm running out of things to say. Let's put it that way. Tim White here, TNA Racing, a 64.803, 64.803. And David White, where is David White? I don't see him out on course. Uh-oh. Frank Gauss in the 06 Evo, 61.984, but picking up a cone, 61.9, but picking up a cone. So no help for him on scratch and no help for him with that cone. But I do see second drivers in STS here. I see Greg Johnson out there. I see Ian Baker, and I see John Brown. All three of these folks looking to really lay the smack down here. I'm watching Ian Baker and John Brown just to see who's going to rock it up to the top here. Next in, Greg Johnson out of Stamping Ground in with a 72.3, but a DNF. Okay, just when I turn away for just a second, Ian Baker lays down a 64, a 64.666, 64.666 for evil Ian Baker on Toyo tires. And John Brown coming through the lights backwards, just back up. I don't see any cones. Ho, look at that. Well played, sir. 66.190, 66.190 for John backwards Brown into the finish. Coming all the way up into third spot, just ahead of co-driver Darren Dirty DeSimo in fourth. So Darren is holding on to the fourth trophy spot with a cone, though. Oh, Ian Baker, speaking of cones. Oh, we knew that time was too evil to hold up, a 66.666 now. So they're holding on to a cone on that. So one cone for Ian Baker. Scott Giles, let's see here. Oh, that's John Fisher. I apologize. A 71.502. Scott Giles will be next into the finish. Scott backing up his previous time in FSB. Got another 63. This one's a 63.2780. Now is a 1.1 second lead over Nick Myers. There's David White out on course. Looks like they may have had a time crunch or possibly a mechanical time crunch. Or maybe they were eating Captain Crunch, not sure. Nevertheless, he comes and turns in a miserably fast time, which makes us all hate him. A 58.897. 58.897. Where is your fast and where can I buy some, sir? Taking the lead by... Oh, okay. He's got the lead by 82 thousandths with a freaking cone. Nicely done, sir. David White in the lead by 82 thousandths, including a cone. Good grief. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Huh. Well, that's how you can make money at racing, everybody. If you can figure out how to box up talent and sell it to people like me who actually need it, then you will make $1 million 10 times over. Goodness. 58.8. By the way, thank you for not running XP and humiliating us even further than your co-drivers already are. So nicely done, David White. But yeah, we're going to have a battle here in SM. Things are about to get hot and heavy real quick. And we are into second drivers in FSP. Here comes Jason West in that 86 Corolla, down to a 65.699, 65.699, all the way up into third spot into the trophies. And he is just 1.2 seconds behind co-driver Nick Myers. So we got CRX, Corolla, and 200SX. Yeah, exactly. Depends what kind of X you like in... well, FSP. Yeah, exactly. Oh, who do we have out there now? We have your leader in F Modified, James Fisher, out working on course, and we have Andrew. We're going to go with Fontenauer. I'm going to go with that. Let me know if I'm right. 62.348, 62.348 for Andrew. That's going to move him up into second spot, just ahead of his co-driver, Andrew. And that's only 4/10 behind your leader, Steve Holscher, out of Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. He's sponsored by Racekeeper and Terry Howard. This Andrew is sponsored by no one, but the other Andrew is sponsored by Team Penguin Racing. Ooh, James Fisher working a DNF on this run, they're telling me. Not sure where, but he still looks pretty darn quick through these offsets. And Sweep is heading out. That means second runs, no mas. That's also some more news for me, though. That means we are going to be getting back into JB and JA action to see how the battle's going to play out there. So as soon as Sweep gets done and all vehicles have stopped moving, we are going to be back into the junior karts. Greg Anthony, second driver in FSP, the 95 Dodge Neon, will be your last vehicle to complete second runs here. So we'll be holding for just a moment for him to finish and then waiting for Sweep to come in. So James Fisher, even though he DNF'd that last run, still has a 4.3 second lead in F Modified right now. Greg Anthony looking pretty good through that slalom back there. Hiking the inside rear wheel nicely into the offsets. I hear a cone, though. It looks like a cone on that slalom. Good scratch, though. A 66.689 plus 1. 66.689 plus 1. So a little time improvement and a little cone drop off at the trash bin there, and he will be up into trophy contention. Looks like Alexander Nelson out working the middle section of the course, running over a cone. Looked like a speed bump underneath that tiny little cart, but he keeps it all together, and he is proceeding on his run. Here comes Tyler Cormier screaming into that same section. Corner worker running out of the way. But he got the cone reset. Good hustle there. Big thanks to all the corner workers for hustling and running, especially those who had to work in heat 2 during that inclement weather that we had earlier. And thank you to all the event organizers for keeping things straight. All righty. Here comes Alexander, 69.009 plus 1 cone. He knows where he hit it, but a good scratch time for him. So even with the cone, he still picks up time. So he's, man, that's a good improvement. All righty, Tyler Cormier into the finish, 67.329. 67.329 for him, dropping another second, taking the lead back in JB. Kieran Boito is out working course right now. We're going to see how this pans out. It is a Kieran and Tyler battle right now. Here comes Ben Weaver coming over the yump and screaming into the slalom. Oh, looks like 95 JB had to get flagged on this run, so there's going to be a 5-minute wait for a rerun there. Ben Weaver into the lights, clean time again, 87.927, 87.927 for him. 3 clean runs, good job. And here comes Kieran. They say you're going to get a rerun for stopping. So, car 95 JB, she knows that she stopped out on course there. Tom Reganey, bow, 61.961, 61.961. He says, that's right. Nicely done. Good run there, 61. Whew. Here comes another one, Trey White. Dropping the hammer, 61.683, taking the lead. Only 0.2 of a second separating these two young men. First and second, Trey White in the lead, 61.683. Tom Reganey, 61.961, 0.278, separating these two in first and second place going into day 2. It is going to be a battle in JA. KML, here comes Kate Reganey. No, that's not Kate. I got the wrong one highlighted. That's Neva. You come in with a big pickup there. 2-second drop down to a 63.410. 63.410. And here comes Kate Reganey. Now it's highlighting one here for me. They're a 60.017. 60.017. Picking up 0.4 of a second, and we are on third runs. So just in case you didn't know, that means it is time to get ready to go work. If you haven't checked in already, shame on you. Go check in. Get ready. Come say hi. Underneath the Lincoln Driver Center over there, I believe, is where we have our worker chief. All right, looks like Ashley Nelson out there, 16 JB. They got her for a DNF. Good scratch time, though, a 79.272. 79.272 for Ashley. And looks like Kieran Boito is out working on her rerun. Coming into the final offsets. We'll see if there's enough to run down Tyler Cormier. Tyler holding on with a 67.3. It is 66.708. 66.708. 0.6 of a second lead going into day 2 for Kieran Boito out of Kingsport, Tennessee. BetterOffRacing.com and King Yang's Magic Trailer. Interesting. It sounds like a bouncy house. Hey, workers, in case you didn't hear me earlier, come check in. Mike, they got to check in with you? No, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, go check in if you got to work this heat. You should know if you're working this heat because, well, you probably ran second. Anyways, underneath the Lincoln Driver's Center, that's that giant trailer with the red awnings on the side of it that says Lincoln Driver's Center. Go there and check in, please. Alrighty, we are firing up third runs. Here is Mike Fawcett, number 42 SM. Ooh, sounds like 65 Street Mob. Chuck Panowski picking up a couple cones here at corner one. So corner one staying busy this heat. Looks like, anyways, like I said, into third runs in Street Modified. We got Mike Fawcett, Chuck Panowski, and Tim Ward. Going to be our first three to cross the line. Here comes Mike, number 42 Street Mod. He is in with a 63.719, 63.719, so no help there. He's going to be sticking to run two, currently sitting in the fifth position. And Chuck picking up another cone. Good scratch time. It's a 60.939, but picking up three cones, they said, on this run. So dirty, dirty, dirty all day for Chuck, unfortunately. Three cones on each of his runs. He's going to stick to run... which one is it here? He's going to stick on his third run. That's his best time. It's a 66.9, including three cones. So good scratch time, but... well, I can tell you right now, I've never won a race on scratch time. David White, he is your leader still. He's got a 60.897, but he's also carrying a cone on that run. Tim Ward in with a clean run. He's got a 65.549, 65.549. So a 3/10 pickup for him to round out his day. And we got Christy Gauss into the lights, number 96 SM, 64.057, 64.057 in the Jester Tuning Strano Parts Mitsubishi Evo. And that's going to be a full 1 second pickup. So good improvement there. Even improved a half second on that dirty scratch time from last run. Here comes Jim Vitale in the 98 Nissan 240. Dropping it down to, ooh, man, good improvement there. 2.3 pickup, 66.062. 66.062 on his third and final run. And very closely followed behind with a 60.831 is Justin Lau, taking over the lead over dirty co-driver David White. Justin down with a 60.8, sitting in the top spot. So tight battle there. Justin on top with a 60.83. David White, dirty 60.89. And Tyler Fawcett, clean with a 60.9 right behind him. So not even a tenth of a second, or right around a tenth of a second spread separating your top three. And here comes first drivers in STS. Will Dodd in that 91 red Miata. He's in with a 75.488, 75.488. So no help at all for him there. Slowing down by almost 5 seconds. Looks like Sean Johnson picking up 0.8 of a second. He's got a 67.646, 67.646. That's going to move him all the way up into fifth position. That is the last trophy spot in STS. Next up, Chris Johnson. Third run for him. Let's see. Looks like a 67.744. 67.744. So good improvement for him. That puts him up into eighth position now. Next in is going to be, looks like Paul Kolorowitz. He is in with a 68.306. 68.306. All right. right, here comes Paul McClurg. Oh, looks like he is working a cone on this run. Scratch time of 72.440, 72.4. So that's his best scratch time, but picking up a cone on that run. Looks like he's running some Falcon Hanabi wheels, though. I do remember those. That's a nice-looking wheel and bronze on that car. Next up, a 70.295 for car number 64. That is Jacob Christensen, and that's a good pickup for him. That's a 2-second pickup for him, to be exact. Speaking of smoking fast, here comes Mike Snyder, 65.159. 65.159 for Mike Snyder, dropping even more time. He is now 85 thousandths behind Ian Baker, but Ian Baker did have that 64.6 on his last run, but it was dirty. So yeah, Darren's got some catching up to do. He is out working his way out into the back corner. STS 78 next in with a 67.063 for Sean Greer. 67.063 for Sean. Things tightening up. Here comes Justin Harbour. Let's see if he can keep it together coming into the final offset. Ooh, wiggling around a little tank slapper, a 66.287, 66.287. That is enough to take the 4th spot and put him solidly into the trophies at the moment, just ahead of Sean Greer. Darren DeSimo, though, will be next into the finish. Darren working 2 dirty runs. If he can do it clean on this run, he will be up in the hunt. It's a good scratch time, 65.034. That would be good enough for the lead by 0.04 of a second. I don't hear anything on the radios. I'll update you, but that looks like a lead for Darren. Darren DeSimo taking the lead unofficially in STS by 0.04 of a second over Ian Baker, and 0.08 behind him is Mike Snyder. Ooh, another 66, 66.820 for Brandon Blaga. So that's going to put him just a half a second out of the trophies ahead of Sean Greer and just behind Justin Harbour. And we are back into FSP action. Andrew Buck, 65.373. 65.373. All right, Tom O'Gorman uploading some sections onto the course here, so hopefully Tom can give us a little insight on what we should call these sections of the course here. I'll get with you later about what those are called. Renee Hines dropping it to a 68.157, 68.157 for her. So slowing down a little bit from her dirty times earlier, but that's going to be her best run because it's clean. So I would like to nominate Tom O'Gorman to be on the course design and approval committee, possibly maybe in the PR section. So anyways, George Schwenkel in with a DNF on that run, unfortunately, so no help for him, so he's sticking to run two. Sweep's going to be heading out after FSP here, but not before we get a 68.3 for Kevin Thompson. That's his best run by a large margin. He is up into 7th position now for Table 8 Racing. And here comes that pretty little blue Volkswagen, and that is Mike Burgess. Oh, down to a 65.288, 65.288 for Mike Burgess. Mike Burgess's throttle getting stuck on the floor there, and he is smoking through the course all the way up into 3rd spot there. No lift, no surrender. And here comes another 65 by another Volkswagen, a 65.280 for Mark Summer. He moves up into the 3rd position, just 8 thousandths ahead of Burgess. So it looks like things are now CRX, Corolla, Volkswagen, and Andrew Buck's 200SX finally getting knocked out of the trophies. Ooh, what do we have here? Nick Myers, 63.412, 63.412. Not quite enough to catch Scott Giles in that CRX, but that puts him very, very close. He is just 13 hundredths of a second behind Scott. However, all these gentlemen are going to be sitting on their 3rd and final runs. Scott Giles still has another one to go in the books, and Jason West has another one as well to see if he can move up. And Greg Anthony, who was sitting on a 66 earlier, but it was a dirty run, also has a 3rd run to do. So we're going to see how things are going to shake up in FSP. You're going to need a 65.2 to get in the trophies in FSP or better. I guess we'll see how that pans out. We have Sweep Car out on track, and we got F Modified waiting on deck right now. F Modified no longer waiting on deck. They are now out on course here. Heading out into the dark gray abyss. You know, I'm not insinuating it's the weather. It could be the rubber that's laid down on this wonderful, grippy, amazing surface that we get to drive on today. That's what I'm referring to. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Oh, no. Alrighty, James Rose out on course in that 34 four-door sedan. Alrighty, Neil Landers doing it right now, 63.034. The radios are silent. The time is clean. That is a big improvement for him. He had a 67.7 he was holding on to before. So that is a 4.7 second improvement. So he is now up into second spot in F modified. Let's see. Looks like James Rose dropping a little time. 3/10 pickup for him. Not quite enough to run down Neil. He's got a 65.386, 65.386. Back into DP action. Andrew Blazeman, Steve Holscher out on course, and ASR Lone Wolf Jeff Jacobs out as well. Those sound like individual throttle bodies I hear honking on that car. Whatever they are, they sound lovely. 61.470 for Andrew Blazeman. That is enough to take the lead back over Steve Holscher. However, he is looking over his shoulder to see if Holscher can lay down a 60. He can't, but it's a 61.283. 61.283 for Steve, and that is enough to retake the lead. He's .187 ahead of Andrew Blazeman in that 92 Miata. So very close fight going on in DP right now. And behind him is co-driver Andrew Fontenhauer, and he is only 0.8 behind Andrew Blazeman. So all three could take a win tomorrow in DP. We will see how it pans out. Looks to be another improvement for Jeff Jacobs. He's down to a 64.009. 64.009 for Jeff Jacobs in that beautiful black Corvette. All right, back into STRL action. Jenna Gates, 71.611. 71.611. That is a 2.7 second pickup for her. Nicely done on her third and final run. Laura Campbell, big pimpin' into the finish. It hasn't hit a thing yet. This is not going to be the time she wanted, but it is clean, and it did look cool. And we got it all here on camera. All right, Laura. Well, we appreciate the effort at the finish. Nicely done. Still hold on to the lead. It was a 71.2 with a spin, but you didn't hit a thing. Let's see. John Weissman, a 65.5, but a DNF on that run. So picking up some time, but they said you DNF somewhere. So not entirely sure where. Go check the audit sheets after they come out. Looks like we got Chuck Spira next. Haven't heard anything on the radios yet for Chuck. And then we got Debbie Zeisler and Jenny Williams in the AMOD car. Chuck just got called. They just got a DNF right in the last couple corners there for Chuck. A 74.5, but a DNF. Debbie Zeisler out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Oh, picking up a DNF on this run. A little bit better scratch time. It's an 80.1, but a DNF out on course there. Jenny Williams taking a little closer look at that last cone on the finish there, and she DNFs as well. 67.2, but a DNF, but that's no help anyway. She has got a smoking 61.0 earlier. Alrighty, I see Tim White working it out there in that 2000 Subaru WRX. who do we have here? Greg McMillan getting down to a 74.3. 74.3 for Greg McMillan in that 911 convertible, and that's a 1.4 pickup for him. All right, guys, don't forget, we are doing hot worker swaps. If word hasn't gotten around to you yet, we are doing hot worker swaps. And here's another word that needs to get around. It says that Tyler Fawcett is now leading Street Modified. 59.878, 59.878 for Tyler, taking the lead. So he has taken the fight to Japan with that BMW 328. And here comes Tim White into the finish. He's got a 73.832 plus one. 73.832 plus one. Next up is going to be Frank Gauss. He's down to a 67.132 plus one. 67.132 plus one. So no help for him on that run. He's still going to be sitting on run one, but he does have the fourth and final trophy spot currently in Street Modified. I see a massive amount of people heading out onto the course right now to go to their work assignments. They're like, hot swap? Yes, please. I see there's weather on the horizon. 60.608 for David White. 60.608 for David White. And we have a bit of a backup here coming into the finish here. We need to get cars moving on scales ASAP, folks. We got a backup coming, so try to divert and follow the impound workers here. They're trying to make a second line. Anyways, David White, that's good enough for second position. Greg Johnson into the finish with a 70.476, a 70.476. That's going to be your best run, and it's clean. 64.598, 64.598 for Ian Baker, taking the lead. He's 4/10 up on DeSimo, and just behind him, a 10th back, is Mike Snyder, and John Brown 1 second behind Snyder in 4th, and Justin Harbour in the 5th spot, 0.09 of a second behind Brown. Here comes John Brown, 65.499, 65.499, still in 4th, but closing the gap. Workers, some of you are late. Matthew Braun, oh dear, check the bushes. Colin Scheidler, let's see here. Alan Scheidler, ooh, both the Scheidlers. Jeff Walker, also in an S2000. Scott Boito, and that's it. And Brian, well, who's working for me? Brian Flanagan, whenever you get a chance, come on up. I'm still having fun announcing, though. 198 STS, John Fisher, I missed your time. Had to announce some worker folks here. Oh my, oh my. FSP 62.571 for Scott Giles. 62.571. 0.8 of a second up on Nick Myers, who is holding down second spot. Greg Anthony about to work his way into the finish here. And I'm going to have to go back in just a moment and see what SM shook out to just to get the updated results there. Ooh, 65.709 for Greg Anthony. 65.709. Let's see. That's going to move him up to 7th position in FSP. Just an update on SM for those who were like me who didn't see what happened. Tyler Fawcett sitting in the lead. Oh, Justin Lau second and David White third, carrying a cone on that run. So White is in third going into day 2. 64.960 for Jason West, rocketing all the way up from 6th into 3rd position in FSP. He's got 0.3 on Mark Summer, the 4th and final trophy spot, and he's only a second and a half off co-driver Nick Myers. And Nick is only 0.8 of a second behind your current leader, Scott Giles. And here comes FMOD, 60.197 for James, 60.197, extending his lead now to 2.8 seconds. As I said, though, Street Mod being led by a BMW. Tyler Fawcett on top, 0.9 back, Justin Lau. 0.06 behind him is David White. Frank Gauss is 1 second behind him in 4th. And here comes DP, second driver action, 61.383 for Andrew Fontenauer. And, ooh, he's carrying a bucket on this run, so dirty run for him, unfortunately. Still, he's only 0.8 of a second behind his co-driver, but a 60.3 or 61.3, that would have put him just a 10th scratch time off your leader, Steve Holscher. So got to find the shiny side somewhere. He's got to be happy about being in contention with a national champion. Nicely driven today, Andrew. And if you are working in 5th heat, don't forget, it is time. All right, looks like we're doing a worker swap right now. We're going to be getting into fifth heat running. Brian Flanagan's going to be taking over announcing soon enough. Looks like we got DSL, F Street, H Street ladies, STC, STX, huge class, STU, BSP ladies, CSP ladies, DSP ladies, BP. I don't know if there's anyone in BP. Street Mod Front ladies, Super Street Mod, B Mod ladies, D Street R ladies, and I don't even know what that's called now. DSR ladies, GSR something. Yeah. Here's Brian. Alrighty, this has been David Hedrick. Thank you very much for listening, and I am sorry.
Okay, so we're going to try to get this changeover going just as quick as possible. Move on to Heat 5 here at the SCCA Solo Championship Tour here in Wilmington, Ohio. I guess we do have a car on course. Sounds like this is the last car of Heat 4. Had a rerun situation maybe. So on course now we have Frank Goss, Street Mod number 196. Currently sitting fourth spot in Street Mod. It's from Wexford, Pennsylvania. This Jester Tuning and StratoParts.com sponsored 06 Mitsubishi Evolution. Coming towards the finish, working the suspension hard. See if he drops any time. Nope, slows down just a tick. 61.999 for Frank, 61.999. All right, sweep car is out. That is not a Volvo. That was a Volvo earlier. It's a much safer looking car than this particular sweep car. This looks like it might have been in some trouble already due to the multiple colors on the bodywork. We're going to have a very short delay as we change over. All right, we are off and running with STX, but the sweep car is still out in the middle. This is a little bit odd. But we are under the gun time-wise, so maybe we'll get a drag race. The sweep car appears to also be an STX level car, so maybe we'll get some head-to-head action here in a moment. A drag race or something, lead and follow chase kind of deal. Maybe some pit maneuvering. No, it looks like we're just going to go straight on into it. This is Sherry McCoy on course now, STX number 4. Sherry's in with a 71808. 71808 from Cincinnati, Ohio on Dunlop tires. Driving that RX-8. So I had a bit of a premature start there, but that's all right. No harm, no foul. Looking for Mark Stevens next on course on a 2013 Subaru BRZ from Belleville, Ohio. Sponsored by Circuit Motorsports, Field Suspension and Racing Brake on BF Goodrich tires. Eric Simmons behind him in this 2013 BRZ. Simmons going through about as many cars as I do. And that's a lot. Sponsored by JSC Speed, Fortune Auto, and Race Engineering and Moto East on Hankook tires. And Matthew Braun being called out by Sandy. Best get on down here, son. We've got, let's see, that was Mark Stevens into the finish. STX number 18. He's in with a 67.963. A 67.963. Here comes Simmons. See what he can do in this 13 BRZ he's got. It's 64.280 for him. 64.280. Quick time so far in STX. Cale Bushmeyer in this 93 BMW 325 will be your next car in. Cale's from Westerville, Ohio. TC Klein Racing sponsored BMW on Dunlop tires. He's in with the 66.841. Okay, let's see. Bushmeyer in a moment ago with a 66.841 for him. Now we've got Perry Elwood, STX number 24, into the finish. Perry in with a 66.203. 66.203 for Perry. Nick Kelly, your next car in, and it's white 2013 BRZ from Erie, Pennsylvania. Sponsored by More Performance and Race Comp Engineering. He's running Hankooks. 70.286. 70.286 for Nick Kelly. Once again, this broadcast being brought to you by Carts, Carl Rickart's production company, live internet video production services. Go to www.livecarts.com if you want to check that out. And we are broadcasting on Ustream. Go to livecarts.com. You can find the on the solo page. You can find the broadcast here. All right, Asia Coburn in a moment ago from Clarksburg, Maryland, in with a DNF on that run, and then we've got Douglas Glanz, STX number 44, driving the Princess Racing BMW, in with a 68.167, a 68.167 for Douglas's first run. Now you are, if you're watching the Ustream feed, you are live on board with Bill Cook Bill, one of the early adopters of these FRS BRZ cars, and whoa, meanwhile, big time sideways through the finish for Christo Cook, pulling a nice little drift move. Sorry you didn't see that one on the feed. Riding along with Bill Cook is pretty cool, but that was quite a drifto move by Christo as he came in. Christo with a 66.298, a 66.298. Now here is Bill Cook. And you, if you're watching at home, 66.298. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not a time for Bill Cook. I got a DNF, a 67.2, but a DNF for Bill Cook. So, the curse of the camera. I know it's caused several people to pull in some DNFs so far. Put that camera on, put you on stage, and well, performance anxiety, but that's okay, Bill. They make pills for that. Don't worry about it. Caleb Zitter in now STX number 69. Caleb in with a 70.999. A 70.999 for Caleb. He's from Lexington, Kentucky. Driving a 2013 Honda Civic. Curtis Staples in now, one of my favorite cars out here. Curtis has long been an E30 guy, E30 BMW guy, and he's out here with a E30 M3 BMW. You don't see many of these anymore at all. He was in, Curtis in was 72-179, a 72-179. Jeff Rooney in now, STX number 76. Jeff in from Virginia Beach, Virginia. He's in with a 68-533. A 68-533. That's good enough for fifth right now in STX. Raymond Zusa, and now STX number 91 from Louisville, Kentucky. Ray is in with a 66.334. Nice run, but a cone on that run, Ray. 66.334. That would have been good enough, sir, for third in STX, but that cone obviously not going to do any favors. Eric Kugel in now, STX number 92, and with that Type R Acura from Middle Village, New York. He's in with a 65.333. 65.333, that's good enough to put Eric into second spot in STX. Now Kyle Mertens, STX number 95 from Fenton, Missouri, in. He's driving a 96 BMW 328 IS. Little E36 BMW on hand-cooked tires. He was in with a 67.275. 67.275. Here's Alan Shin, STX number 98, and now he's driving a Mazda RX-8. Alan from Dearborn, Michigan, in with a 65.915. 65.915 for Alan. Sponsored by JK Cycles. Bruno Tabacci will be the next car in, driving a 04 WRX. This class used to be full of these WRXs. You don't see nearly as many of them anymore. But if this turns into a rain event, that may be the car to be in. Bruno from North Lewisburg, Ohio, in with a 69.122. 69.122. He's sponsored by Performance Control Center, running hand-cooked tires. Here's another Subaru. So Austin Yazel. Austin, we're on the STU class now. I was wondering how STI got into STX. This is a lot of STs. We've got a lot of STs here. Austin Yazel, ST number 4. He's from Greensburg, Indiana. He was in with a 66.948. With 66.948. Sponsored by Turn In Concepts. Running hand-cooked tires. Mike DeZingle. That's STU number 6 from Winslow, Ohio. He's in with a DNF on this run. It had a 69.1 raw time, but a DNF, unfortunately, for Mike. Scott Johns, your next car, driving a 97 BMW M3. Car that is near and dear to my heart. And by the way,
Thank